Welcome back, everyone, to RimWorld Rawhide, where we are still hanging out in the rootin', tootin', rough and dirty world of cowboys out on the rim. It's worth noting before we really get into the episode that I still sound like a cow stepped on my throat and or uterus, so I do apologize. This is the third week in a row that I believe allergies are about to kill me. One of the very first things we done here in this episode was actually start building some houses for everyone. If we were actually going to turn this place into a town, we couldn't just be living in our little tents, like the railroad tents or whatever I called them in part one. And so we decided to build some nice little log cabins and hang up a beautiful live, laugh, love sign in each one. And we finally have our first actual bed that Dexter built for himself. Boy, does he look comfy laying in it that night as well. Oh, finally, no more sleeping in the dead hide of animals on the ground. And then in the middle of the night, the Lord decided to punish our corn plants for being so voluptuous with a disgusting blight. So, of course, we naturally went through with our little pocket knives and cut each individual corn plant, hay plant, any plant that had a disgusting blight. And we just cut them down. They're just plants, not a big deal. I also got Albina a really cool looking sombrero to go with her pistol. In the meantime, we were also building some gorgeous mosaic floors to go in our nice little homes. And then in broad daylight, the inevitable happened. Our refugees had finally decided that they were back on their feet and they were ready to leave. And out there in that hot desert, they started walking off into the distance, never to be seen again by us. But there was some good news. Dexter was finally finishing up the roof on what would be our saloon slash kitchen slash probably courthouse for the time being. And late one evening, I got this beautiful shot of Nixon out there planting some cactus in the hot desert sun, as Dexter just laid out in the giant field of cacti, possibly on a cacti, and just kind of relaxed himself. But there was no time for relaxation out in this desert. We had a merciless group of tribespeople coming to blister our asses again. The battle began at the river that runs through this land. Arrows and bullets flying, whizzing beside people's heads left and right. The tribespeople did eventually cross the river as we were shooting at them, but luckily we were on cowback and or alpaca back, so they were much slower than us and we were much faster and able to gallop away into the sunset and fire at them. Now, while we were still licking our wounds from that raid, our slave thought it would be a great idea to try and break his chains and make a run for it out into the deserted, isolated desert. Now, while we were beating our slave into submission, we actually had someone named Dog want to join us. There was apparently an unknown threat following him, but we were short on manpower, and we're not one to turn away somebody in need. Now, Dog would have to earn his keep, though, so we immediately sent him to Albina to go ahead and do some tending and a tiny bit of cleaning. He was fairly good at doctoring, so that would be what we'd have him do for the time being. Now, because of the whole raid kerfuffle, we ended up having to operate on Nixon and Albina because they both had infections in their legs, and no matter how good Dog was at stuffing sand into an infected wound, we just couldn't get the infections to go down, and we eventually had to cut off the limbs. Thankfully, the infections were not in their torsos or somewhere else that we could not cut off, though, so we kind of got off lucky. Our slave also had an infection, no doubt probably from when we pistol whipped him when he was trying to escape, so we actually went out to go ahead and strip him. We didn't want his gear to be tainted, but luckily for him, his body fought off the infection and he was still laying naked out in the sand. Now, the refugees that we allowed to stay with us actually sent us a care package of some kind of funny metal doodad for your head and some medicine. We would use the medicine, but the little doodad we would end up selling on a caravan. Now, not only was our buddy Dog here really good at medicine, but he was quite the miner. Look at those muscles glistening out in the hot desert sun with that beautiful braided beard. Sometime later, we also sent Nixon out with some of the gear I was talking about, like the little funny metal doodad for your head that the refugees sent us, as well as all our leathers and things like that, and some steel, herbal meds, other things that we had lying around we wanted to sell. We traded them for some firearms and some other things. Not really much happened there, just a little bit of trading. Actually, I forgot to mention, we bought a husky, so we do have a dog now. We actually bought Dexter another sawed-off shotgun, so he's dual-wielding sawed-off shotguns, and Albina's riding around on the Husky dual-wielding Colt 45s, and they look really badass. Well, it would be time to put both those badasses to the test, because believe it or not, our slave was stupid enough to try and escape again, right in front of Dexter. So Albina and Dexter both went in and just beat the absolute crap out of him. Now, late one night, we had a large group of traders coming to trade their fine wares and goods with us, which was absolutely splendid because they would be very much needed as we were about to be raided by a massive group of angry tribespeople. So this would be the perfect opportunity for us to hide behind any defenses or buildings that we had and let the two tribes settle it mano a mano out there in our town. To which the two tribes responded with, yes, we will settle this mano a mano, and luckily the friendly tribe ended up winning. We took a few pot shots as they fled in terror, but finally it was over after a while. We also found two hostile tribesmen laying out in the sand and decided to try and rehabilitate them and make two nice ranch hands out of them. Sometime later, though, we ended up getting another massive raid that they were actually coming at us from 3 separate angles. So, we tried our best to prepare some defenses as fast as we could before they began attacking us, and we started building sandbags and barriers to shoot from behind. We were not quite fast enough with building our defenses, though, and they were charging at us with bow and arrows, pilas, knives, and everything they had. This had been our biggest battle so far. Everybody put up one hell of a fight. Bullets were flying left and right. One of the cowards was trying to hide behind some rocks and shoot at us, so Albina and Nixon went over and just eviscerated his face with their rifle and pistols. Now this set them off and they started fleeing. But the problem was that they were trying to kidnap Dog and take him with them. We tried chasing them down, honestly we really did, and I was so afraid of losing Dog. I sent Albina, I think I even sent Nixon with the rifle to try and get a shot from far away. We tried so hard, we even shot the tribesmen a few times, but they just would not drop Dog, and they eventually kidnapped Dog. With Dog lost, I sent Albina and Nixon back to try and help the town by putting out fires and things of that sort. Some time later, I realized with these massive raids, what we would need to do is build some walls around our town. Before I could even get started on actually building those, though, we had another raid coming through. At this time, because of mental breaks, the only people that could fight were Nixon and Dexter. The problem is, Dexter had a mental break, and now it was only Nixon that could take on all these tribespeople at once. Luckily, the traps that Dexter built before becoming catatonic would actually save our lives and our colony. Nixon hid in between the tents with one tribesman falling to the first trap. While he was taking a few shots at the other one tried to sneak around on him and also got caught in the second trap. And after that tribesman was down, they began to flee, thank God, and we hid in a tent. Now, in the meantime, we decided to go ahead and send out another caravan to make some trades with some animals because we had so many, it was time to get rid of a few. Now, this will conclude, though, part 3 of our RimWorld Rawhide series. I do hope you guys have enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. We had quite a bit go on in this episode. Mostly violence, half the town burning down, being attacked, shot at, things like that, I suppose you'll experience on the, or in the Old West, I should say. But thank you so much, guys, for watching. I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate your support. You're absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.